Feel like I'm the replacement. Don't speak, bitch, don't say shit to me if you ain't speaking my language. Mix some beans with promethazine, got me speaking in Spanglish. Repeat and replay this. Feel like I'm Nelly, I need motherfucking streams just to save me. I try to hold my head high, I've been sinning all my life. Got a feeling only Jesus could save me. Bottles full of lean is a baby. Told my mama rapping, she just went crazy.
What is up, everyone? It is Andrew Rapier here of Beat It AT Production and Publishing, bringing you guys a new YouTube video. In this YouTube video, we are going to be mixing a rap beat in FL Studio. This wallpaper is a little goofy where it's not really cropped right. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter. So we are using FL Studio 12. I'm gonna pull up this playlist. I'm gonna show you guys each individual instrument, but what we're gonna do essentially is just try to mix everything as best as we can, as well as not use up too much of your time, so you guys could go ahead and practice what we learn. As a reminder, as always, if you guys ever want to get in contact with me or Beat It AT, all of our contact information is in the description. Also, feel free to subscribe and put on notifications for us, because we upload a lot of content, including beat videos, tutorials, beat sessions, specials, deals, yada yada. So we're great. We've been doing this for a very long time and have 500 videos. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna pull up this playlist, go ahead and play you the sample. Now I'm not using headphones, so I'm gonna have to stop the playback every single time in order for me to talk. Normally I use headphones, but I want to get the most accurate and best mix, so I'm gonna use my monitors, which I'm using some Truth B2 031, or there's probably a better way of saying that, but you guys can check it out. I just got these speakers a while back from someone that had a studio and was getting rid of some somewhat old monitors, but they work pretty well. It's what I use to mix. So enough of me talking. That's about 2 minutes of jabbering. Let's go ahead and play you what I got. So as you can hear, there's like a lot of sound. It's not mixed at all, and you know it's not mixed because all I did was route all the channels, because this is a channel rack. If you guys haven't, we have a lot of introduction videos to FL Studio that will get you guys started on learning the functions and the views and such, and I highly recommend that. Just check out our videos and playlists on our Beat It AT TV channel. Now, as you can see, we got a whole bunch of different channels. We got our drums down here, and then we got our instruments up here. I just went ahead and just did track. We can just move it up right here where it says up here. It's going to tell you what you're kind of, well, the top left corner under the file, right in that little box. I don't know if you guys see my cursor or not, but anyways, I tracked all the instruments over here, and I just right clicked to solo this. We're just gonna click on all of these, since this will toggle the on and off of the mixer track, because this is our mixer board. We get that by clicking this. I'm talking kind of fast because this is like very basic fundamentals, and I want to get more into the content of the mixing. So let's go ahead and play just the instruments, because all these are mute, just these. If we look through here, it's going to tell you what effects I got. So I did a gross beat and a flanger on this piano just to create some sounds. But if you look, I literally have nothing else. So no EQ, and none of these faders are tweaked. These are faders, the things that adjust the input signal, essentially the volume. So if I right click, I get a solo of the piano chords. Now that's pretty high. I don't want my piano chords, I don't need that much input signal. So I'm already gonna pull that down, I already know. But what I can also do is I'm gonna get Fruity Parametric EQ. I wanna cut out some of the low end. So what does that mean? So this is a frequency equalizer, parametric equalizer 2. This is visual equalizer. It's gonna tell you where the sound is coming on the frequency band. So this is a frequency range. Each sound has hits different frequencies. Higher pitches are upper leveled frequencies usually. Low pitch bass notes are usually low frequencies. It will even tell you right here, low bass, yada yada. You see like da 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 da. Treble, upper, mid. So let's go ahead and create a cut. Pull this. So it's gonna pretty much make sure it's pretty much gonna make sure there's no frequencies coming in over here. Creating a little dip. Pull this down a little bit more. Alright, so now what I'm gonna start doing is just start. That's kind of like my main one, because that's the main chord melody. I'm also gonna do I'm gonna do the bass line now too. So mixing is just really adjusting the levels. I don't want the bass line to be too prominent. As we saw, it was like way up here. It's gonna tell you the levels right here. So this is C for current. So since I'm selecting this one, this is the current track, so it's gonna tell me the exact level. I kind of like that area, but we could go down a little bit more. Pull in an EQ as well. I like to EQ a lot of my things. It's really up to you. I'm really picky with what frequencies. I try to paint in the frequencies, essentially. So I don't try to have too many frequencies colliding with each other, but try to complement everything so it sounds pretty full. But also leave a little openness for vocals, because vocals will come in around like the 500, 700 range. So usually. So I'm just adjusting by pulling these, by clicking in the one, and then using the scroll wheel to adjust the pretty much the dip or the the width, I guess, the bandwidth of how much. So EQs you normally want to cut more than boost. Boosting, you really don't know what frequencies you're boosting in a way, and also it's just, you get more done if you cut the opposite frequencies that you're trying to do. So if you want the highs to stand out more, maybe cut out the lows. Alright, so let's get this ARP now. So yeah, that's getting pretty dope. So let's adjusting that. Let's click in this. This is the Magic Piano. I think this is just gonna actually complement the chords, but we're gonna see. So what I'm thinking about doing is actually getting a stereo effect, stereo enhancer, and actually spreading it by separating the stereo, kind of making it split more to the left and right. So let's hear this. So I kind of want to have this special ARP as a background sound to kind of complement everything, as opposed to being like a main up in your face. So that's why I'm kind of pulling it down more so. I'm pulling in an EQ now. Go ahead and save it. As a reminder, we're just going to be doing the mix in this, so we're not going to actually mess with the master channel. That's the mastering process. I'll upload another video on that later. I'm gonna try to make this piano super high so it stands out more as opposed to the other melodies. Excuse me, I'm drinking like my water. My throat is starting to hurt. Been talking all day. Alright, so I'm gonna actually also get a fat compressor. It's a compressor that I always use. I use this stock preset. I just like the sound it does. It literally compresses it and smushes the sound, and so it's not so dynamic. And dynamic is just meaning where it's like changing a lot. So now it just brings it up ever so slightly. So here's what all the instruments kind of sounds like. And I actually didn't really mean it for it to slide down like this. It just somehow ended up being perfect like that. And the thing is, when we have so many instruments, it starts like they all compound on each other, so it just gets louder. As a note for y'all, we are not going to be using the bass line with the 808 over right here. The 808 and the bass line have to be kind of separate, so whenever we're working on the 808, we're going to mute the bass line. I'm actually not going to structure this. I don't want to use up more time than needed. I just want to go ahead and get this mixing done. So let's get this percussion rim right here. kind of want to get like a really exaggerated reverb. So we're gonna pull up the room size, and then we're gonna pull up the wetness, which is the pretty much like the pass through of the effect. So if you pull up the wetness a lot, then it means there's gonna be more effect, whereas if we pull down the dry, then it's not gonna have like the normal sound, so it's just gonna have that wet reverb instead. You want to keep that dry so you could hear the main one, but if you pull up the wetness, then it's gonna be really reverby. So now I'm gonna pull down that bass and pull up the decay a little bit more, so it's gonna have a longer sustain with that reverb room, the ambience. Pull down. I'm kind of curious what a distortion would sound like, just, you know, getting creative with this. We're going to pull down that mix, so the mix of the distortion, the pass through essentially, is not so harsh. I think it just adds a little bit more texture to it, so that's all. Now we're gonna pull in that old hi-hat. So you guys could probably understand what I'm doing now with that reverb. I'm just going for the ambience, but we can't really hear it. So what we do, we're gonna right click that. So here's the 808. So 808, I usually like to pull down and cut the high, and then I'm gonna do like a slight dip in that very low, like that 20 hertz. Don't really need that. Then do like a slight nudge bump up and a little pull. Alright, that's still a little muddy, but that's fine. We're gonna get a little distortion. Pull down that mix, the threshold. Put that pull down that Alright, I'm gonna do a slight compression. I want to kind of boost and pull down ever so slightly. So we're gonna do a little gain, go up to 2. I like it. I'm just kind of guessing too, a little bit faster to attack. Alright, that's alright. So what's 11? Do we have anything in 11? We don't. So we got a clap now. So I'm gonna get an EQ. I already kind of know what I'm gonna do. Hold on. Alright, I'm just tossing a little saturation knob, just doing a little boost in the mid saturation. Then we're gonna pull down with a clipper, just in case if it were to clip or sound a little like harsh for some speakers or some whatnot. Now we're gonna go ahead and get a reverb. Pull down that. Alright, we're gonna turn this clip on. So if we kind of compare, it's kind of similar EQs for our different claps. I'm cutting out that low, doing a slight boost, and then nudge right over there, a little nudge there. I'm not gonna put a reverb on that one though. I'm just trying to add a little bit texture, gonna add a little reverb. It's like a weird clap snare. It's like a accent snare, how I like to say. I always pull down the bass because I don't see a point in boosting the bass and the reverb. Oh, I don't mean to pull all these levels all awkward. So here's the orchestral crash. We could put a reverb on that, but I don't really see a point to. I'm gonna mute all this. Now we got the kick. Do a little EQ. Alright, so I like to make sure my kick is always a little bit above the 808. So let's pull this down. We got to also, we could go up our Maximus and pull up this preset kick pump. It's a nice little preset to get your kick sounding really nice if you got the right kick sample. It usually works with the kicks I choose. So we're going a little bit over. So we're going over 100. So our mix is still not quite there because everything's quite loud. An easy little way is just knock it down a little bit. I'm just selecting everything and clicking down. Now that kick is pretty powerful. We're gonna pull up this 808 down. So I'm just making this, doing some adjustments, just some ever so slight adjustments, pulling down this volume a little bit more. So usually I'm actually pretty lazy, where I kind of let it peak, not too much, but then I tweak it up in the master. I wouldn't normally suggest that. I usually would say to pull everything down. Honestly, we should probably pull these instruments down, and then when we do the master, when we add more compressors, it's kind of pull up all the sounds and kind of like nudge out the bad and push the good. And I mean, that's easier said than done. So I mean, but let's go ahead and pull some of these instruments down. Adding a slight reverb to that, so a little bit more ambience. Maybe we could pull this dry down so it's not so harsh. This gives us a pretty decent mix. It's obviously not mastered, and we can pull it up a little bit more when we do that, where we're gonna knock out, because it sounds pretty low right now, and that's just because it's kind of mixed. I try to not to rely too much on compressors while doing the mixing, unless if I'm doing vocals. The reason why is a lot of these instruments are already heavily compressed because they're VSTs. The drum samples, not so much. We can put low compressors on those. But the compressor is to really bring up the good frequencies of that sound or sample and not push out that bad, and compress everything and make it sound all nice and tight, or nice and tight. You know, that's how everything's better when it's nice and tight. But anyways, essentially, with that being said, I didn't really feel the need to over compress this when I'm gonna the instruments and VSTs when I'm gonna go in the master and do it more. So it's my sort of way that I do things. I'm gonna go ahead and save this. We're gonna actually work on this project when we do our master tutorial, but this is our mixing tutorial and this is it. I don't think I'm gonna cover anything more. When we do the master, we're probably gonna readjust some of these levels. We're gonna try to shoot for a little bit closer mix. This is a decent idea. I got some stuff panned. I feel like I could do a little bit more. We can definitely do more with the mix if we were doing automations and working inside the playlist. However, I'm just working a channel rack and just want to show you guys the basics on how to mix a rap beat. This is kind of like a new age type Travis Scott, Mike Dean, Kanye West type of rap beat. So yeah. So if you guys made it this far, glad you did. This is Andrew Rapier here of Beat It AT Production and Publishing, and I'll see you guys later. Be sure to subscribe and comment and share.